Hey guys, we are going to talk about what an essay is. Now, I put these slides on your home page, but I'm going to go through it. So, what's an essay? What is an essay? Okay. Now, I looked at your diagnostic essay. Yes, you guys are going to write that over. A lot of you guys just wrote one paragraph. You wrote 1 to 3 paragraphs. 1 to 3 paragraphs is not an essay. Okay, 1 to 3 paragraphs is not an essay. Let's say an essay is like 7 paragraphs. Okay, we're going to move past the 5 paragraph paradigm. Okay, all right, so what is an essay? Okay, okay, so in this lecture, okay, we're going to learn about the parts of an essay, the purpose of an essay, how to organize, the introduction, the body paragraph development, and the conclusion. Okay, so now the 3 parts of an essay. Let's see, let me move this out of the way. 3 parts of an essay. So you've got an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Okay, you have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Why did I go backwards? Okay. Okay, so the introduction, this is the first paragraph or the first section of an essay. It contains a thesis statement. That's your overall idea of what your paper is about. And it also has a review of sources. This is the title of all of the texts and the names of all the authors mentioned in the paper, and a preview of the main points of the essay. Okay, this could be your main point sentences, right? And it can also be part of your thesis statement, but we're going too far ahead, okay? So here on this graphic, right, we see that an introduction, right, is the general idea or the outline of a topic. It introduces your paper to the reader. So your introduction needs to tell us your thesis, what the paper is about, who you're going to talk about, and what are your main points. You're going to introduce your paper to us. Now, I generally write my thesis last. I write my thesis last. And then you've got your body. Okay, and you guys have already written a paragraph, and I've already shown you the parts of a paragraph, right? But we'll review that again, okay? So you're going to write about your main points, right? Each paragraph is going to be an idea, right, about your thesis statement. Everything in your paper is in support of your thesis statement, okay? And then your conclusion, right? This is where you're going to conclude. You're going to summarize your essay, right? Provide a concluding a statement or connect with a topic, and we're going to go over ways to conclude. Okay. So let's see, let's keep going. So the body paragraphs, these paragraphs are a series of evidence accompanied by compelling details that support the thesis statement and informs, persuades, or instructs. Okay, so your evidence. Now you've been gathering evidence since you started the semester. Your journal, right, with your text I like and why I like it, that's your evidence. Okay, that's your evidence, right? So you've been writing this essay all along without even knowing it, right? And your conclusion, this paragraph or ending section of an essay, it wraps the essay up. It wraps the essay up. So there are 3 parts to an essay: the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion, okay? So let's go forward. So the purpose of an essay. So an essay is writing that uses evidence to support a main purpose. So whether you are instructing your audience on how to make or do something, right, inform your audience about a topic, or persuading or arguing a core belief. Okay, here arguing does not mean to fight. Arguing means to present your viewpoint, okay, or to persuade someone. Okay, so all of these purposes of an essay need the writer to provide evidence that relates back to your purpose or your thesis statement. I should have wrote thesis statement there. Oh, wow. Que sera, sera. I'll fix it later. We live and learn. Okay, so the information you collect about a topic can serve as evidence that supports your main ideas and strengthen its credibility. Credibility is what makes something or someone believable. And that's why in a college essay, we integrate the works of others in our paper. That's why we insert quotations into our paper. We use as evidence, just like you did in your Mindset 1 to 25 quiz. I asked you to define growth mindset and fixed mindset and locate a quotation, right? Text I like from Dweck's text, right? That helps support your definition of growth mindset and a fixed mindset. That's your evidence, and that's what makes your definition credible. Now, if I were you, I might want to put that in the first paragraph of my paper. The introduction is probably where I want to define terms. Okay, so how to organize an essay. So you have spatial order, describes a subject's physical characteristics, usually from top to bottom, left to right, front to back. Chronological order delivers information in the order the events occurred, right? Generally a how to write an essay, right? And order of importance organizes evidence from the most important to the least important, or from the least important to the most important, right? So these are ways that you can organize by characteristics, physical characteristics, chronological order, or from most important to least important, right? Now, I think for essay 2, the mind, depending on the prompt that you chose, right, you might want to do order of importance, okay? All right, so now look, how to organize. This little handy dandy organizer is on your home page. So what to write about and organizing it. So an easy way to create a thesis statement is to incorporate the prompt into your response. So now how to organize. Create a thesis statement by incorporating the prompt into your response. So here's one of the prompts from SA2, the mind. How can mindfulness and the growth mindset help a person in school? Now, here is a thesis statement where the prompt is incorporated into the thesis statement, right? Growth mindset and mindfulness can help a student be successful in school because a person can learn to persevere during difficult situations, to relieve school-related anxiety, and to increase her sense of belonging to the academic community, okay? Now, this is one point, preserve, right? I'm gonna go back through here. So I'm gonna go ahead, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go back for a second, okay? I'm gonna go forward and then I will do this later. I want to work on this. I wanna work on this, do a little video about this, okay? But let's keep going forward. So this is a way to organize, right? Another way to organize, right, is to use an outline to help you structure your paper. Here is a basic, this is a, let me go back. This is a basic essay outline, okay? Now this is also on your home page. This is also on your home page. This is a basic essay outline, and it's just telling you what to put where. Write a topic sentence here, provide a quotation here, okay? Okay. All right, so now the introduction. Let's talk about the introduction. So writing an effective introductory paragraph, right? So common introductory patterns, okay? I want you to begin with a thesis statement because I want a thesis-driven paper. So I want you to put your weakest thesis statement, practice writing your thesis statement in completely different words 4 or 5 times. And the weakest one, I want you to start your paper with, okay? So begin with a general subject that can be narrowed down into the specific topic of your essay. Begin with specifics, a brief anecdote. An anecdote is a story, a specific example or fact that will broaden into more general topic of your essay. Give a definition of a concept that will be discussed. This is where you can use your definitions that you've already done. Okay? let's see, make a startling statement. Start with an idea or a statement that is widely held point of view, and then surprise the reader. Start with a familiar quotation by a famous book or a famous person, right? Well, you did that in your reading response one. You started with a quotation from Dweck, okay? You started with a quotation from Dweck, but I don't want you to integrate that, have that be the first sentence of your introductory paragraph. The very first sentence of for this essay too, I want it to be your weakest thesis statement. And then you can do whatever you want, okay? Tell us the main points, right? You're gonna tell us your thesis statement again, and you're gonna give us a review of sources, all the authors and the titles of all their texts that you mentioned in your paper, okay? Give a number of descriptive images that will lead to the thesis. Ask questions that you intend to answer, okay? No questions. I don't want questions in this paper, okay? One question per paper for now. One question per paper. Later, when you write a longer paper and you're writing an APA, you're going to ask some questions and answer those questions. But for MLA, I want you to avoid that one, right? Use classification, right, to indicate how your topic fits into a larger class to which it belongs, okay? So now, some introductory paragraphs. So the introduction, this paragraph introduces the subject of your essay, the thesis statement, the subject, your point about the subject, the structure of your essay. This is the prompt question you choose for your essay, right? So this is your response. The thesis statement should be in your introduction. This is your response to the prompt. Your response to the prompt, right? The name of every author and the text that you mention in your essay. A few sentences that preview the ideas that support your thesis statement. These sentences are the main points. These are the things that I want to see in that introduction. Then you can do whatever you want here except for ask a bunch of questions, okay? And a transition sentence, okay? So now, body paragraph development. Okay, you can do narration, tell a story using a sequence of events, and we've seen this when we read Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. Dweck uses narration throughout those whole 80 pages that you read. Description, use sensory images to create a picture with words. Dweck has done this. Process, using steps explaining how to do something or explaining how something works, okay? That's me, that's what I'm doing this whole class. Illustrations are examples, right? Well, you've seen this in mindfulness and higher education, academic success, predictors, academic retention, predictors of college success, right? And mindfulness in higher education. Comparison and contrast, right? You've seen Dweck do this. She compared and contrasted the fixed and growth mindset, cause and effect. She talks about causes, right? And then the effect, right? The cause, right? Feeling bad about yourself, right? And then the effect is getting bad grades, okay? Extended definition, right? Maybe one of your body paragraphs might be a whole definition about perseverance and what it means to persevere, or about belonging, what belonging means, or what growth mindset means, right? So your body paragraphs, these are methods of development for your body paragraphs, okay? So your body paragraphs are gonna have a topic sentence. The sentence tells the main idea of the paragraph, and you've seen this before in your Write One Paragraph assignment, right? Major detail about the main idea of the paragraph, a quotation, signal phrase, a quoted text, the author's last name, and the page number, okay? And the unpacking. So remember, a quotation needs a signal phrase, a quoted material enclosed in quotation marks. Okay, a parenthetical citation, the author's last name and the page number, and the unpacking, the why I need it. It needs all of those things, okay? Minor detail, right? And major detail, and maybe another quotation, right? And then a sentence, right? A transition sentence, okay? Let's keep going. Now, how to write a conclusion paragraph, right? So a conclusion, right, is a paragraph in which one is one which is used to sum up and bring your essay to a conclusion, right? All of the ideas that have been discussed during the body of the essay, right? The conclusion paragraph can be used to demonstrate to the audience or the reader, right, the goal that you set out in your introduction, okay? So let's keep going. Right? So you could come full circle, return to the material in your introduction, right? Summarize by repeating the main points in completely different words. You're going to use completely different words. So one of the things that I want you to learn how to do is to communicate the same thought in completely different words. Practice writing your thesis statement in completely different words at least 4 or 5 times, and you can put one of your thesis statements in your conclusion, right? Okay, show the significance of your thesis by making a prediction, giving a warning, giving advice, offering a solution, suggesting an alternative, or telling results, right? Giving advice to students, right? Because we're talking about student success in this paper and the mind, okay? But something that you don't want to do, right? Oh, you can end with an anecdote, right? A story, right? As an example, you can end with a story, right? I know a student, right, who showed perseverance, right? Who learned how to deal with their anxiety, right? And who felt like they belonged to the academic community. And all of these things together helped them to be successful, right? Okay, now, what? I didn't put what you don't want to do. I can't believe I don't have what you don't want to do. Okay, well, the thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to add any new information into your introduction. Nothing new. You're not going to bring up any new, if you haven't mentioned it, I'm sorry, in the conclusion. If you haven't mentioned it in the introduction, do not mention it in the conclusion. No new information in the conclusion. Do not apologize for anything. Okay, don't say you're sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, right? None of that, okay? And I think that is it. So let's see, is it it? Yes, that's the end. So that's the end of this little video about what is an essay.